Welcome to the ITM Podcast.
This is episode 258 of the ITM Podcast, the official Boston Red Sox podcast of the CLNS Media Network, brought to you by PrizePicks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Media Network, and by GameTime Tickets, the best place to buy tickets online to sports, to concerts, to all of your favorite events. And the Boston Red Sox have signed Walker Buehler. My name is Copponi and Scott Neville. Scott, how you doing?
I'm good. I like Walker Buehler.
I like Walker Buehler too, dude. That's what I was going to say. We on this, listen, are we like, I don't want to say undefeated. We're not undefeated. But 100% of the signings that they've made, or the moves that they've made, we have given a thumbs up to, minus Aroldis Chapman. Like ahead of time, we have wished for them to make the move before they did so.
Yeah. I mean, well, Crochet and Buehler, for sure. Who else said they? Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, then yes, definitely.
Yeah, 2 for 2.
I would say this. I wanted them to do the free agent ace thing, but if that wasn't it, my top trade target would have been Crochet, and my top non-ace would have been Walker Buehler. And it's not a would have been because I've talked about it. Like, I was afraid. I wasn't really that afraid because this would require spending more money, but a lot of people were talking about Flaherty. And I was like, don't do that. Let's get a 1-year deal on a Buehler and not lock ourselves into, Flaherty had a career year, so now he's going to get paid as if that's his normal performance.
Let's give Walker Buehler that career year before he goes into what's essentially his real free agency.
Right, exactly.
The fact that this is a 1-year 21.5 or 21 flat?
I believe it's 21.05.
Okay. 21 and some change $1 million. For 1 year of Walker Buehler. It's just a straight 1-year deal. This is just speculation. This is not reporting. But when you land at a 1-year deal, you got to imagine that this was probably like a 2-year deal, 34. Like, hey, how about this? We'll bring the AAV down. We'll give you 2 years. And he said no. And then it probably became, hey, how about 2-year deal? We give you an option in the middle. You opt out should you want to. Then you go to free agency. And he said, no. And the Red Sox, usually, teams will keep negotiating something like that to the end. Because they want to have some flexibility. They want to keep the AAV down, blah, 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 blah. Red Sox have a lot of space before the CBT. They also really need a starting pitcher. They also have lost out on the free agent market already. And the New York Yankees kind of going nuts. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to them, but they're really not happy about coming in second in the Juan Soto sweepstakes. So your divisional rival is bolstering up. I think this was a move that was like, you know what? Fine. Sure. Like, people are going to say that's a high price for Walker Buehler. They might. I don't really care because it's not my money and they're still very much under the CBT. They're so far. If this is the move that put them over the luxury tax, I think that's really the only time you can be like, whoa, why are we going over now? Because I hope this doesn't start the World Series clock because, they're going to have to reset it within 3 years or whatever. But that's it. That's the only time you should really care about money in baseball. They just needed somebody. They needed them now. And this was a, you know what? I'm just going to sign it. Let's just do it. Let's just spend the dollar and get him here kind of a move. And all of that is also not to mention the very fact that this is essentially, Scott, I think it's like $700 different than the qualifying offer.
Yeah, it was a couple things on that. Yeah. First of all, no bad 1-year deals. I will say with the exception of the luxury tax implications, I do understand that point of it. Outside of that, though, 1-year deal, you make a mistake, you sign a guy, you way overpay him. It's it doesn't matter because you're only spending, you're talking about if you're in the season with a bad contract, it's well, the next time there's going to be negotiations again, you're not going to have this contract in your hand. So if we get to June and we're like, yeah, this guy actually, it turns out that second half, he hasn't fully recovered. The postseason was an anomaly. He's a 5 ERA guy this year. It's just all right, okay. John Henry spent some money, didn't get his return on investment, and then it's going to go back down next year. I'm okay with that. Personally, I'm fine with that.
Take on a prospect come deadline time if a team wants to take a flyer on him. If he's that bad and like the team's not whatever. Yeah,
that's what the Mets did. That's how they got.
There's no risk.
That's how the Mets went all in on spending, and it didn't work out. They traded Verlander, they traded Scherzer, they got Acuna's younger brother. He's like their top prospect now, and he's like you can buy prospects. People don't talk about that. That's true too, regardless of his that he would be a very interesting piece depending on the Red Sox performance. The other thing is there was a very realistic there's a point in time where we very much thought that this exact contract was going to be given to Nick Pivetta, and I feel a hell of a lot better with it in Walker Buehler's hands than I do Nick Pivetta. So
yes,
that's interesting. And then I don't know if you want to get into like the rotation, but
I mean, I think even before that, just to stick on the Nick Pivetta thing.
Okay,
like we on this show discussed, in a fair amount of detail, the decision to give that to Pivetta and not T.O., which I still don't feel natural calling him T.O. I guess I don't have to anymore. But the whole sequence of events is you extended the qualifying offer to Nick Pivetta. He declines. He eventually signs elsewhere at some point. You receive draft pick compensation for extending that qualifying offer and having it denied, and then give that same dollar to a better pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking flawless. That's great. That's chess, not checkers kind of shit. It's small ball stuff, but that's the thing that I feel like the whole fan base has come to appreciate over the past couple of years.
That's all we've had to appreciate over the last few years. But yeah, go ahead.
Right. I genuinely think the past few years have made us better baseball fans and more knowledgeable baseball people just in the city of Boston. Yeah. I really do believe that because we've had to focus on that kind of thing. Because when Dombrowski's here, it's just like, what the fuck? You didn't get Stanton? All right, get me JD Martinez instead. Mm-hmm. End of thoughts. Now go win. To sit here and look at like this kind of GM, back end behind the curtain dealings and be like, wow, we basically got a comp pick and a better pitcher for the same money. Good job, Craig. Then apparently, Craig has spent $30
something.
$4 million?
10.5 for Chapman?
Yeah, so 31?
Yeah.
$31 million. Doesn't seem like he's had all too much leeway to spend outside of the, the massive Soto offer, and has with $31 million and moving prospects vastly improved this team today and has not compromised the future. I'll give a little clap to Craig. I'll give a little jingle bell to Craig.
Yep. Hit him.
Here.
There you go. Yeah, there we go.
Jingle all the way.
Yeah, it also what it allows you to do too, the Pivetta plus draft pick, that whole thing, like you're getting Buehler and a pick versus Pivetta. That's a great point I hadn't thought of. The other thing it does is you got a guy at a better player, but same value contract wise. And now if you do end up signing Teoscar Hernandez or something, or Alex Bregman, it wipes that draft pick from Pivetta. It doesn't take away from their actual pool. So by getting Pivetta to getting it offered and getting it denied, you basically are allowed one free qualifying offer player, and it's the same as if you didn't get anything. So the two options now are you get an impact player without having to give up a draft pick because of Pivetta, or you don't do that and you get the extra draft pick plus a better pitcher than Pivetta. And either way, you get the better pitcher than Pivetta.
Either way, for essentially the same price tag. I will say, before we I do want to talk Bregman, mainly because it feels as though things are kind of shifting in the space on Bregman. I also do want to talk about what the rotation looks like as a whole. Before we do that, though, it's a really good time to remind people to make their holidays bigger and brighter with PrizePicks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on PrizePicks, and PrizePicks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Join now because this holiday season, PrizePicks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and Scott just loves this. They are giving away $30+ million in rewards during
Christmas something.
Picksmas.
Yeah.
Picksmas. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Let me ask you this, Scott. You think Connor McDavid is going to get more than 0.5 goals next week?
I think that's a lock, Joey.
You think Austin Matthews for more than... That's the end of the sentence?
That's the end of the sentence? That's all you got?
Do you think more than, whatever?
He's a pretty good player. I'm hitting the over. Yeah, I'm going with over.
Yeah, more. More.
Not more.
More. PrizePicks is the best way to win real money this hockey season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? You know the game. You guys are huge puckheads. Get out there and, play daily fantasy sports. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That is pretty crazy. You get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win. It's guaranteed. Go on over and do it. PrizePicks. Run your game. I wanted to bring up this. I'm glad that you talked about mentioning the rotation because I, about a week ago, before the Buehler signing, put out, Crochet, Giolito, Houck, Bayo, Crawford. How do we feel about that rotation? And a lot of mixed results. I mean, 90% of people saying, like, go get somebody, sign Burns, Henry's cheap, that kind of stuff. But then there was a lot of people arguing about the order of people.
Oh, yeah.
Being like, Houck above Giolito. Or like, I don't want to see Cutter in this rotation. And like a lot of things that I was like, oh, okay. I thought we all kind of just thought this would be the rotation right now. Like I was very dead set when I tweeted it. But today, after the Buehler news, I went to put out basically the same tweet. Just put the rotation down, throw it out there. And I had a really hard time putting that order together. And let me look at what I actually did because I don't even really remember off the top of my head, to be entirely honest with you. I said Crochet, Houck, Buehler, Giolito, Bayo. I let the people get in my head a little bit about Giolito, bumping him all the way down from 2 to 4. But I did. Crochet, Houck, Buehler, Giolito, Bayo. I've seen all sorts of iterations of this rotation right now. Stats, we all agree, very smart, usually on the right track about things. Even if he's kind of off, it feels like he's off base, he usually ends up being right about shit. He had Giolito in the bullpen.
Whoa. Wait, what? I gotta see this.
Yeah, his rotation did not include Giolito. I was looking up and down. I was like, oh, does he have Giolito in a trade? What the fuck does that mean? And then I found he was over in the pen. How crazy is that? I don't think anybody has any idea of what this rotation really looks like, which I'll say kind of a good thing. I'm going to put a little bit of a spin zone on this while you're pulling that up.
I found that.
Past couple of years, we have been like, these are the 5 starting pitchers. And then one of them gets hurt in April, and then one of them gets hurt in June, and then you have nobody's. Yep.
Just to cut you off completely from a point you made 15 minutes
please,
ago.
Go ahead.
We forgot about Craig Breslow spending on Patrick Sandoval. How could we forget that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Patrick Sandoval's here.
That's another $20 million.
Yeah, welcome.
Congrats.
Thanks.
I meant to him.
The congrats wasn't at me, was it? Yeah.
No, because
I figured that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would I be congratulating you for?
I thought you were congratulating me on just noticing what you said and reacting.
Yeah. That's on me for not. All right, congrats to both of you.
You can see how I would be confused.
Yeah, now that I said it out loud, I was like, oh, that was pretty obvious. I didn't need that to be explained to me. Why it was really the way I phrased it. It was confusing that I didn't mean you.
Yeah, no, I mean, anybody in my shoes would have thought the same thing. People at home were like, oh, he wasn't congratulating Joey? That's weird.
You was talking about Sandoval? I don't even understand where he came into this thing.
I thought we were just congratulating Joe on just doing a good job with listening. But what I was going to say, dude, the past couple of years, it's been very clear what the rotation is because everybody's been like, okay, here are the 5 starting pitchers that the Red Sox have. End of list. And then last year, I guess it was like, maybe there's a 6th. If Whitlock is alive, ooh, that would be cool. And there's this new guy, Cooper Criswell. We gave him $1 million. Like maybe he can get in some games. But that was it. Like, your 5 guys. Right now, it does not feel like a problem to be like, you could shuffle this around. Like there are 6, 7 guys. And later in the year, definitely 7 that like can start baseball games. That to have Quinn Priester go, to have Dickie Fitz go, later in the year to have Sandoval go. Like it's a rotation that has depth. That if one of these guys goes down, Scott, I've been walking around my house just having anxiety about these guys getting hurt. I'm like, oh God, like, after Giolito and after Kluber and whatever, like just after all these things happening, it's like, oh God, like I hope this works out. I have to like remind myself actively, like it's deep enough. It's like, it's okay. If a guy goes down for a minute, I think it's okay. Like, yeah, assuming that everybody's that's here right now stays here.
100%. Yeah, I think that's actually, I'm surprised you went on the depth angle, but that's almost my biggest takeaway. I mean, other than that, the name value is just so much better this year. Like last year, it was kind of like, I mean, Houck was not Houck the way you look at him now, but you would look at it and you're like, Nick Pivetta, like I could see him being good. I could see a 5 ERA, like whatever. These guys now, they have real, like I personally think I would go Crochet, Houck, Giolito. I would go Buehler, Crawford. I know Bayo is just for some reason an absolute lock, even though he's shown nothing of the sort. But what realistically, I think it's probably that. I will say, Cotillo, I don't know if he necessarily meant to rank this. It seems like he did. He put Giolito 6th as well when he did his little update. And he did, I will say, though, he did the 6th, and then he said plus Criswell, Priester, Fitz, and eventually Sandoval. So he didn't put him straight in the you're not going to make the rotation. I see a lot of people just assuming that Cutter Crawford's a reliever now. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Now, obviously, you assume one of these guys is going to go down, so even if you have your 6th starter probably makes 15-plus starts, so it's not like the end of the world, but
yeah.
And the other thing, honestly, maybe my biggest takeaway from seeing people do these, I think people like forgot that Tanner Houck had a 3.12 ERA and was in the All-Star game. I think he was like in the 3rd inning of the All-Star. Like, how is he not unequivocally your second guy? Like he is.
Because it was 1 year. I think that's why. Because people have been watching Houck for a while, and he had a great year. But I think people are like, okay, that was 1 year. But like, do you earn that spot, or like the veteran who they brought in who like kind of suffered this freak injury? Who's like,
well, hold on. Yeah. With that argument, you have Buehler coming back from like a 5 ERA regular season, so like he's certainly not a guarantee. Crawford wasn't as good and also just has like 1 year. Bayo,
he sputtered down the stretch. Yeah. He was there. He made 33 starts, 32 starts, whatever it was.
No, Cutter had a great year. I'm saying he wasn't. When I say he wasn't there, I mean like he wasn't on par with Houck in terms of performance, and they both were basically 1 year wonders.
Right. Okay.
And then Giolito has. I think people may forget how inconsistent he's been over his career. He ended his last campaign not great, and he's been an innings eater, but he's certainly been an up and down performer. So yeah, that's true. Like I get that the Houck argument that he might not have a 3.12 ERA next year, but at the same time, like I think his credibility is as strong as anyone. I mean, even Crochet, if you want to go there, has 150 good innings in the big leagues.
Yeah, I know. It is weird to be like, Houck only had 1 good year as a starter. The one spot obviously goes to Garrett Crochet.
Yeah.
who has been a starter for exactly 1 year.
Yeah,
but
and had less innings of the,
right.
But
I don't know, man.
that sounded negative. Though.
I love the problem of having too much starting depth and being like, damn, all of these guys deserve to be in the rotation because they're innings eaters, because they post. It's like, yeah, I think that's a really good thing that, like, if Cutter Crawford only makes 23 starts, I like that going into the postseason. If Tanner Houck makes 27, I'm happy with that going into the, you know what I mean? Like, there's just kind of this list of, like, maybe that's not a bad thing. And, like, I know people have reservations about a 6-man rotation, that there's kind of mixed feelings. I don't really have a strong opinion on one way or the other yet, but I don't see it being impossible that 5th spot is rotated, or that a 6th man gets rotated in sometimes when you have this much depth. And if you are trying to build a team that's going to the postseason, I think you saw some of the effects that stretching, I don't mean stretching guys out, like getting them ready to go. I mean, overextending guys in the regular season can have in the postseason. I just watched this video. I wish I could give credit to the creator. I'll find it somewhere. But I watched this video on YouTube about Emmanuel Clase and, like, where his fall off was. And Trevor May also has this magic number. I forget what it is, but it's like the number of innings as a reliever. That, like, after that, like, it's his magic drop off number. Like, in one single season, you hit this number of innings, you start to see things go. And the same is obviously true of starters. Like, having that depth is an asset, not a problem. So as we're sitting here, it's fun to kind of build it and whatever. But we've also seen the past couple of years where, like, the opening day starter and the quote unquote top of the rotation doesn't really matter. Tanner Houck could very well.
Corey Kluber 2 years ago.
Like, Tanner Houck could get it this year because of how good he was last year. Like, it doesn't matter what the top of the rotation is. It doesn't matter the order of them. What matters is there's depth, and that's fucking awesome. And it's the first time we can say that in a really long time. And please don't trade Cutter Crawford. I like him.
Oh, yeah, definitely not. I feel he is, like, in a way, not the least tradable, but in the sense of, like, the people that you would actually consider, like Bayo, those kind of guys. Like, Cutter is reliable, and that's something you don't have at all in this rotation, is durability and reliability, because a lot of these guys have really high highs and then, like, lows of, 5 ERA. I have we talked a lot about, you made a lot of points there. What I like about, this goes back to just, like, having depth, but last year, if you remember, when we did our prediction show, and one of my, like, weird prediction was, you're not going to learn that much about this team because there's so many things that have to, there's so many unproven players, and so much that can go wrong. For example, we haven't talked about Garrett Whitlock, by the way, one singular time, but
not on my mind at all.
Yep. And he's not even making these lists. Last year, he was making the 5 spot in the rotation, if not for an injury. So, like, that proves depth. But so much had to go right last year. I think the room for error is so much greater this year than last year. Last year, they needed 2 starters. They got one in Lucas Giolito. And then he got hurt before spring training ended. And we went into opening day being like, this rotation already is too injured to have a prayer. And now Andrew Baylor did, and then really
Pivetta
cool
got
stuff.
hurt in April too.
Yeah, and the thing is, Cora has to be elated by the fact that he doesn't have to do bullpen game, or at least it would take a lot to get to a bullpen territory. And even your bullpen game guys are probably Garrett Whitlock, maybe Cutter Crawford. I hate to say that.
Wink.
It could be, it could be, Cooper Criswell, like that. Like, you're talking about, Winkowski wouldn't even, I mean, he might not even be in the top 9 this year of, like, starting options. And
you're not going to have Brennan Bernardino starts anymore.
No, unless it's, and if you do, it's because he does it, and then Wink goes 4 after him, and it's like a lefty-righty thing. Like, it would take something like that. But you have, like, actual depth I don't think you go 6-man. I think you could go 6-man when you have like 17 games without a off day, stuff like that. I think the real advantage though is that you assume for most of a 162 game season you're not going to have all 5 of your starters, and if you have 6 like real starters, one's down at all times. There's going to be, when we get through this, early on, there's going to be, oh, he felt a little thing in his hamstring. We're just not going to push it because it's April. And then later in the season, there's going to be guys where their velo drops and they say, oh, well, we're going to give him one start off because his velo dropped a little. I think that happened with Cutter. I think that happened with Houck. And, little things were like, well, we're not going to push him because we're at inning 150 or whatever. So there's always a reason to just give that like one extra day off where they play it safe with these high velo pitchers. And so having 6 is really like having 5. And then you have some guys that if there is health, I think we'd be pretty excited in, late June when there is that first non-top 6 guy where it's, oh, Quinn Priester's going today. Like that could be really fun. You assume that, Dick Fitz and Quinn Priester probably start in AAA, and there's a good chance that by June we're saying, if it works out, Richard Fitz is a 3.2 ERA right now in Worcester. Quinn Priester has a 2.8 right now in Worcester. Like, I kind of want to see that. He's got 11 K through 9 right now. Like this guy really looks like he could be somebody. We're talking about, could he be a long reliever? How do we get this guy on the roster? And then they get that spot.
Houck has, a complete game and an 8-inning game in June at the end of the month. Be like, hey, give him a rest day and whatever. That you're not holding your breath to see these guys. To have those guys come up and start a game is not a oh shit moment. It's a oh yeah, I want to see these guys kind of moment.
Yeah, like you'd be like, hey, Quinn Priester has announced to start Thursday. Like, I can't wait to see that, as opposed to like, how are you going to get through a major league lineup guy? Like, it's just, I don't know. It's exciting.
I feel great about the rotation. I feel great about the pitching staff in general. I know some people are talking about, adding another reliever right now. People are talking about adding all sorts of things that are, let's say, interesting. I don't know that I love all the ideas that people are throwing around. My father, God rest his soul. No,
wow, you just.
That'd be crazy to drop like that.
Him. Yeah.
I had to kill him over this take. Now, God bless his soul. He was like, they need to get a closer. I'm like, they have 3 of them. They have Hendricks, Slayton, and Chapman. They can slot any of them in. They have like a guy who's done it recently, a guy who did it a while ago, and a guy who is going to be doing it very soon. Like, I think I don't know.
Yeah, but you add Tanner Scott into that bullpen.
Sure. It'd be cool to have 4 closers. It'd be cool to have 9 of them in there.
Yeah, they can, though. It wouldn't be crazy. If you're not going to spend – we're obviously – I mean, this isn't something we've said. We're not getting Burns. We're not getting another starting pitcher. There's no more starting pitchers that are like – if it's a starting pitcher, it's a minor league signing or something like that.
Yeah. Another one would be too much. I'll say that. It'd be too much.
Yeah, no, that's true. That just becomes a roster construction problem where you have to like – now you're talking about like – a bunch of people in the bullpen, but like stretched out in the bullpen, and they're all doing like the 2021 Garrett Whitlock role, and there's just too many cooks in the kitchen, which kind of be sick, but whatever.
If every reliever could go 3 innings.
Yeah, and the relievers are like Cutter Crawford, and like Garrett Whitlock is like back to where he is. Bayo maybe has an uptick because he can just let it fly, and he can just be a 2-pitch pitcher.
That'd be kind of sweet.
No, let's do that. Yeah,
this is kind of sweet, actually.
I need another starter. Yeah.
Take last year's rotation, put them in the bullpen.
We need to sign Nick Pivetta right now.
Yeah.
And just so we can do this little super reliever thing. Have always been
ask the Rangers to take Evaldi's contract back, $375 for a relief role.
And you're starting you're in the middle relief. I will say, on a real note, I used to watch, Andrew Miller with us, Andrew Miller with then Indians. I think that's how you're supposed to refer to them at that point. I don't know. Cleveland.
That's what I do, is just in Cleveland,
Yeah. And I'm always just like, I watch that and I'm like, why do they, and I know it takes a lot, but like, why are more teams not trying this? Like, I understand you kind of have to have a unicorn, but like, moving Whitlock, like, I know I don't want to do that today, but
Yeah,
it's
not
just
the
like,
time.
it's like you had a like very, very rare thing that proved so much value. The Yankees with Michael King, it was like, there's just so many, like when you do find a guy, I'm just surprised they don't try that more. Like every team should be, I feel like you should go into spring training trying that with two different people. But anyway, that aside,
there's room to add to this team. I don't think it's going to be in the starting role and move last year's rotation to the bullpen, but there are names that are peeking up ears across Red Sox Nation, Scott, and I would love to talk about them. Right after I remind people that Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. And that means, where the hell is this, dude? Where's the line I'm supposed to say, man?
I assume that you just got to keep scrolling, but I can't see what you're looking at.
That means when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better. And it's the perfect gift. I love that sentence every time.
Read much?
GameTime has a new feature called GameTime Picks that makes getting tickets for live events even easier. GameTime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Just use GameTime Picks. It filters out all that fluff. You guys are reading through all the fluff? What are you doing? Go on GameTime. Customize your spot. Look at the super deals. Look at your seat views before you buy. Toggle the all-in pricing feature. It shows the total up front, so there's no surprise fees at checkout. And they got the lowest price guarantee. Or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. 110%. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Would you please? I know I say this almost every show. I bought more concert tickets. I just can't stop. I'm going to a concert like every month in 2025. So, and Game Time is really helping me do it. Every time I go back, every time I open the app, they're like, concerts? I'm like, yeah, again.
Yeah. Got me.
Yeah. And they're like, let me guess, you want to pay in installments? I'm like, yeah. Like, put it on your MasterCard? I'm like, yeah.
Every time you do this, you get me in trouble.
I do?
You bring up a band. I don't know the band because I'm normal, and then everyone gets mad at me.
I'm seeing the Flower Girls. I mean, you know who they are.
Oh yeah, finally said a household name.
Yeah, Flower Girls, and opening for them, as they are every tour, is
Benson Boone, which is a great new pick.
Benson Boone opening for the Flower Girls at the Songus Center. That is going to be one
it's going to be crazy
of a show. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it, Scott?
It is game time.
It is game time, dude. The folks, the people, the guys, the fellas, the ladies, the lassies. Red Sox fans are like all in on Alex Bregman. All of a sudden, what happened?
I like it, sort of. The one thing I don't like is a lot of people are just like, yeah, he's a leader, and it's like, I don't know, that whole scandal thing. But I also think he's a dog, and I think that is kind of true. But when people are like, I want this guy to be like the leader of the clubhouse, I'm like, I don't know. He gives me, but even though I say that, there's a little Pedroia in him.
I don't love that comp. I get it. Listen, I get it. Like dirt dog shit. I get, but do I though? Do I get it?
I do. I just said it. Wow. Alex Bregman on Baseball Savant is not Alex Bregman at all.
What do you mean?
You type in Alex Bregman, and I'm not sure who this gentleman is, but it's a black guy. MLB 2024 third baseman Astros, and just shows it. Oh, it fixed for me. Okay. It was a black guy on the
Is there two of them?
Cubs. No, hold on. It's Alexander Canario from the Cubs, but if you type in the correct, I don't know which. When I get to a certain point where it's like Alex B, it shows me his face on. Now it's not doing the glitch for me.
Yeah, no, I'm not seeing that at all, dude. You're making that up.
No, it was real, I promise.
Thanks for lying to me, though. That was fun.
If you type in Alex in space, it's this guy that's right above him. But for me, it was saying his name over.
It's kind of fun to make up stories.
Okay. Been dealing with that a lot lately. So I don't know. I like Alex Bregman. I think he's an elite defensive player. He's an above average offensive player. He's going to be there every game. He's got a 132 career OPS.
I absolutely do not want to call him an elite defender.
Why?
Because of his numbers.
6 defensive runs saved, 91st percentile, Gold Glove. 2022, he had 8 defensive runs saved, 94th percentile.
Those are his best years.
Well, the other years were like when he was learning how to play third base at the big league level.
You're also just talking outs above average. His fielding run value is like above and below 50 every year. His arm strength is non-existent.
We're talking about him at second this year.
Sure.
Well, he'll be better. I like Alex Bregman. I'd like to see him in a Red Sox uniform. I think him playing second base every day would be like, he's a likable guy to me. I know he was on the Astros. I think he's a likable guy. I think he has
the potential to be a likable guy. I don't think he's a likable guy right now.
I mean, I'd say the Red Sox fan base disagrees with you right now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I will say this because I'm feeling the tides turn as well. I am less against it today than I was a week ago, a month ago, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm not coming around on it, but I'm certainly less against it than I was. And Scott,
I could have let you finish your take there. I will say, over the last 3 seasons, I mean, he's averaging 25 home runs, 32 doubles, 89 RBIs.
Those are all
124
good numbers.
OPS plus. He's got a 260 batting average, which the batting average is, I mean, actually, holy, 259, 262, 260, consistent. You can plug in 260 for him. I just think he's just a really solid player that is, like, not solid, better than solid, but, like, consistent, above average, right-handed impact bat. And I like it at second base. I like having a little bit of plus defense at second base. I think the throwing problems you take away. Go ahead, Joey.
Joey Copponi here. Would you say that you expect Alex Bregman to be what we hoped Trevor Story would be?
Oh.
Like good to great defense and consistent strong right-handed bat?
Yes, I would say that for sure. Is that you're using that as like a point against?
No, it was just it was just something I thought. As you said it, I was like, wow, that's kind of exactly what I said about Trevor Story when he came here.
Yeah,
like, I think when I was praising the signing.
Yeah, there's a little bit to like the shortstop elite defense thing that makes the hype a little bit bigger. But in general, yeah, I think like a guy that you expect to be. There was the injury concerns with Story that I think you don't have with Bregman. So, I mean, we didn't have him with Giolito either, though, did we, Joey?
Hey, come on.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think he would be a consistent. I mean, he's been in the MVP voting 4 times. He's, he's just consistent to me, where he's just like. If we had Alex Bregman in the middle of the order, I would just feel good every time he comes up to the plate. I feel good when a ball gets hit to him within reason. And I think he helps you win games over time. Like he's been a 4 to 5 WAR play, 4.1 to 4.9 WAR player the last 3 years. Like if he does what he's been doing the last 3 years, it's just like that's just a good piece. You're not going to pay $30 million a year for him. You're going to pay 20, maybe 25, and you're going to say that's a really good baseball player in the middle of your order. Just a real solid guy. He can play third. He can alleviate Devers.
Only time will tell, Scott.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I don't think it's impossible. It would put them over. I think they have 24 million, so it would be damn close.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care at all with the luxury tax. I guess I am starting to feel like maybe you do wait a year because you got the young guys and they didn't make all the crazy Juan Soto type moves. But this team could be really good this year, and you're talking about the luck. You really need to be 10 plus under to be competitive because you also have to trade if you're expecting, which we are expecting to trade. So at that point, you feel like they're going to go over no matter what. So you might as well just do it.
I'm okay with pushing the chips in, but I mean, it also kind of starts that clock of like, okay, like once you go over the tax, you got to reset it at some point.
Yeah,
they multiply.
For
They're not going to stay over for 6 years in a row.
So, no, I get that, but don't you think? Would you rather them spend, based on what you were saying, like $15 million? Is it really only $25 million away, $24 million away?
Yeah,
we shouldn't have spent on next year's roster. I have some Sandoval takes. I don't love that move at all. Not because of the whole rehabbing thing. I don't have a problem with that. I just think it's. I wouldn't have paid $21 million for 1 year of Patrick Sandoval coming off Tommy John. So I don't know why they felt the need to spread out. Like I get why you do it with a Brandon Woodruff. I didn't understand that one even a little bit. $9.5 million AAV for no reason. But yeah, that's your $10 million trade deadline money right there that you're spending instead on him next year, which you kind of hope he doesn't even make this rotation if the things happen the way they're supposed to happen on this. Like, where's Sandoval fit into this team? You replace Buehler with Sandoval, and then I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. Giolito, maybe. That's a stupid conversation to have right now, but yeah, I think you go over. I don't think you can go under without like making a notable trade, which Yoshida, I guess.
I mean, the thing is, if it's done, if there's no other acquisition, this is a very good offseason. I'm standing by that. If this is the end of the line, a grade?
Yeah.
A B.
I don't completely disagree with that. I'd maybe lean more towards B-. I think the moves that have been made are really good, but leaving the lineup as is with just like a bunch of lefties and not getting an impact right-handed bat would be it would almost be like going into the season without a full roster in my head.
But I mean, the kids are right there. A lot of people are talking about Campbell coming up soon.
Sure, I don't love that.
It's right there.
He's a minor league 1 year wonder, and we're just going to bank on him. And then Roman Anthony is a lefty.
Yep.
I think if you're doing that, though, yeah, you do have to like cut it short, and you are playing for 2026.
Which I don't want to do. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go right now.
That's why I say they go Bregman. Get me Bregman, and then get me either Tanner Scott or Jeff Hoffman. I realize that's kind of needy, but like this is the big offseason. Like you do that, I'm not as go next offseason. Like this can be the offseason where they splurge.
But I know you mentioned the reliever. Every year we're going to do this. Like next year, Vladdy's going to be on the market, and we're going to be like, whoa.
Yes, but you're not like. I think the difference is there's going to be like, there'd be like 20 million under or whatever. You lose Giolito, and you're like, we need that one starter to make. This year went into the offseason. It's like you really need 2 impact starters. You need a right-handed bat. We could use a reliever. Like there was a lot on the wish list. I think we would next year focus on a spot or two, like a starter. Like there would be like a list. It's like one spot. Like we need someone that can replace Giolito. Here's 5 people that like are realistic,
or Buehler,
options.
or yeah,
it's true. Giolito and Buehler.
There's going to be a couple starters next year. So as we're sitting here being like, I don't like this can be the opposite. You're going to have to do this again next year because you keep signing guys to 1 year and 2 year deals.
Unless Quinn Priester and Dick Fitz work out.
Yeah, I mean that's old head mentality. I mean old head. I mean like 2 years ago Boston Red Sox mentality. I'm onto the new shit. Buy me, buy me the good players. We're back.
The only way you can put out a serviceable product this year that makes sense without the lineup and have a chance at staying under the luxury tax is if you trade Yoshida with 100% of his contract. And I don't know. I say just open the window. I say just open the window.
Let's open that damn window. Did you have anything else? Because if not, I think I'm good to wrap this here thing up.
I got nothing.
I know the last episode was our Christmas special, allegedly, but this one is coming out on Christmas Eve. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'm in just the most festive environment possible. I'm about to go to Target. I'm going to wear this hat there.
We did a little green-red situation here.
Is this green?
No, wait, that's just black. Never mind.
I have no idea, dude. I don't know. Every time someone tells me a color, I just trust them.
Yeah. No, you're right. That is black. I'm tripping.
I thought it was gray.
It's just on the front.
I don't know.
Yeah, you got.
You know what's scary, dude? Now. This is a triple XL, and it fits like pretty normal.
That's not good. Because that doesn't look like I didn't look at you at one point in this episode and go, "That's an oversized hoodie."
Yeah, it's just a sweatshirt.
Crew neck, yeah.
I bought it. I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna get something big and cozy and comfy to lay on the couch in." And then I put it on and I went, "Oh no,
this fits well."
This is what I wish all my other clothes felt like on me.
How does that? It doesn't seem right though. You're definitely not a triple XL. It's like I'll say a lot of bad.
I mean,
things
it has some. It's
sure.
a little.
Yeah, no, yeah, all right. You're making your case a little bit, but like you said, when you're just sitting there, it doesn't look absurd. Yeah, it's loose. No, it's absolutely loose. It's absolutely loose. It's not skin tight. Most of my clothes because I'm still kind of
This would have been like the correct size to wear around in like 2002. Like 8 Mile had just come out. White people were like kind of adapting and like being like, oh, cool. Like we can dress like that now too. And like this would have been a big seller among the community in like the 02 to 04 era on Eminem show through Encore. This would have done really, really big numbers. So if anything, I'm like kind of like a retro, like vintage fashion icon, revolutionary.
That's what I was going to say about you. Yeah.
And not that I'm getting a little bigger.
Right.
Thanks for listening to the show, everybody. You can follow us on socials at ITM_pod. Sub to us on YouTube, dude. That's where you want to see us. You want to watch us. You want to. If you're listening to us in the car right now, you're like, I wonder what their faces looked like when he said this. Or like, how big is that sweatshirt? You got to go on YouTube. Please go sub on YouTube. And then like reply on Twitter and be like, I love watching you guys on YouTube. Oh, the YouTube is so sick. Joe's doing a great job building the YouTube. Say some shit like that. Just cause. We love you guys. Merry fucking Christmas, dude. Scott.
Thanks, man. That's well put.
Thank you. At this time of the year, you just met it. You know what? I got a closing thought. Can I say it?
Yeah. You have 90 seconds.
All right. I love saying Merry Christmas to strangers. And you're going to be like, what the fuck does that mean? I mean, in like little interactions, like at Dunkin's, somebody holds the door for you and you go, hey, thank you. Hey, Merry Christmas. I love dropping a Merry Christmas on somebody. It feels intimate because just a, hey, thank you. Hey, have a good one. Feels like robot shit. But to be like, hey, Merry Christmas. It's like saying, hey, man, I recognize you. I hope you have a fucking good holiday. And I think people appreciate that. It really brings me joy. Today, the oil man texted me that he was here to fill up the thing. And he's like, hey, it's all good. Good to go. When I texted him, hey, Merry Christmas. And he said, thanks. I was like, you know what? That feels like shit. So
I've gotten actually weirdly caught off guard by that this year, and I couldn't tell you why.
You catch people off guard in a good way with it sometimes.
There's two things. One, like I've had a couple interactions today that were just like work mode things, like contracts and stuff, where I'm just like in it. And they're like, all right, well, hey, happy holiday, Merry Christmas type of thing. And I'm like, well, I wasn't ready for that. I'm so like locked into these, like, what do we have to, these coaching points or whatever, or this negotiation thing that I'm like, what are we talking? Like, what? I don't know.
You're a businessy businessman.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. And also, I've been saying this, and I know this isn't like, it's strange of me this year. I've hosted a Christmas party. I've had I went out in Christmas attire where we all went out in Christmas stuff. And then the next day after that, I hosted a Christmas pregame, which was just 1 week after the Christmas party. And yet, if you ask me, like in my head, I feel like it's December 10th. Like I feel like it's still 2 weeks away. It's so I go home for Christmas tomorrow, and in my head, it's just not here yet. And I couldn't. I don't know if I've just been distracted by other things in life, but it's not that I haven't been like I said, I've been doing a bunch of Christmas stuff. It just doesn't. I don't know. It just feels like it's in the distance. I don't know.
Well, it's here, dude. Buckle up. Because you're about to get smacked in the face with some holly jolly shit. I don't know. Just holly jolly stuff. So buckle up for it, dude, because it's coming your way, man. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate you guys. And a happy Honda Days to you. And a Merry Chrysler. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you in the new year. Right? Maybe we'll sneak one in. We'll sneak in a New Year's Eve.
I feel like we got to get.
We'll put out like a drunk New Year's Eve episode.
It might be New Year's Day or I don't know. It might be New Year's Day would be like the latest, I feel like.
All right. If this is the last time we talk to you in 2024, thanks for a good one, folks. We will talk to you. For Scott Neville, I'm Joey Copponi. Go Sox, kid.